Hey, thanks for coming back to the channel. Um, I want to follow up on a subject of the use of deadly force and the use of get off me force. Um, and I'm going to come back with the theme of what's a tool and what's a weapon, because not all tools are weapons and not all weapons are tools. But the main thing is as a civilian, as a citizen, as an armed citizen, our job is not to run the gunfire. Our job is not to go and apprehend anyone. Our job is to protect ourselves, our loved ones, the innocent, and so forth. That's what we do if we choose to, right? But, uh, you know, uh, people do walk around armed, and armed in this case primarily is with a firearm, like I do. But I mean, if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? We've all heard that. So what are the circumstances where I just want somebody to get off me, either get off me verbally or get off me physically? So let's talk about the verbal part first. Usually, that is a set of words being shared that is a prelude to the monkey dance, which is what you should never do. That's when two guys stand up and they want to bump titties with each other. At that point, neither can use a weapon, right? So, because now it's mutual combat, right? I am not talking about mutual combat. I'm talking about I'm minding my own business and I want the threat to go away. And I don't necessarily want to or need to use deadly force as the initial step. Now, let me say this. I know there's a lot of martial arts, blade related, eskrima sticks, and all that shit, right? Forget all that. Forget all that, right? Here's the truth. All you got to do is look at prison fights and you know what shanking looks like. That's the real deal. That is that if you get that close, somebody gets that close, you're done. You're I don't care what kind of technique somebody, stop the knife, get that, it ain't gonna go. You got both end up in the ER. So I am not suggesting knife fighting, okay, in that sense. But a blade is and can be a very useful tool in the get off me thing, and I'll get to that in a second. Um, there are some tools that I did purchase in other parts of my life. Uh, One of them was an actual taser from the company called Taser. It was a small guy, did not look like a gun like they do today. It was I don't know what it looked like. It looked like something just fit in your hand, but the darts came out. Totally ineffective tool for civilians. Totally worth. Do not spend $400 on a taser for you, your loved ones, or whatever. Worthless. Why? 50% of the time, the technology, uh, while it works, the effect of the technology, 50% of the time, requires somebody to use deadly force. That's why in a lot of law enforcement jurisdictions, before you deploy less lethal, which is what a taser is, uh, you have to have a lethal backup person, right? Or be well trained in transitioning from using a taser to going to your firearm, because that's your next step, right? And I've seen enough YouTube videos to see what happens with that. So taser, nah, don't waste your money. What about pepper spray? Another worthless as tits on a board, unless you're deploying it outside in the forest against bears or similar creatures, right? Well, what some of these assholes do, they go to these so-called peaceful protests and they're loaded down with bear spray to spray on humans. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's use of deadly force. So if somebody bear sprayed me, I'd shoot him in the face. I mean, because bear spray would kill me, and I don't know how people stand it. So spray. Why? Don't do it. Why? Because think about it for a minute. They don't have that far of a reach. If you're indoors and there's anyone else around, you're going to screw them up too. And you're going to screw yourself up. If you're outside, where's the wind coming from? You don't have time to think about that stuff. You don't have time to think about that stuff. So forget pepper spray. I know you see in the movies and you see that it's always the woman, right? That's just Hollywood trying to teach women what to do. And I'm saying don't do that. Right? Don't rely on a pepper spray thing. The next thing to consider is, now that you're not a martial arts expert, because you don't need to be, there is a truth to get off me. The number's 3. You get 3 actions to get someone off you, right? Off you means away from you, or off you, or stop. 3 things. The first one is, the first action is a distracting action. So for those of you who've been trained in the OODA loop, you are disrupting the other person's focus on you and making them focus on themselves. Pain does that, discomfort does that, and so forth. And pepper spray would do that, right? But then there are the other considerations. So you want that first step to be, to get their attention, they need to get away. Well, if you don't have anything, you can use hands and feet. But that first action needs to be violent, instant, and fast, and then needs to be followed by 2 more actions. They can be follow-up strikes. You only get 2, right? Boom, boom, the person's knocked out. Or throat strike, back up, whatever. You get 2. If you're not running away, from the threat, you had better have a gun, because that person's going to recover a bit, and now they're pissed and they'll be coming after you. So if you use any of these get off me techniques, it's to get time and space for you to take the other 2 actions, right? Which could end up being, where's my car? I'm out of here, right? Or where's my gun? I'm shooting them in the face. Because by that time, if the 3rd action, that person is a serious threat by then. But what do you use, right? So I have a real good solution, but it's at the end. I hate doing that because I hate people doing that to me, right? But look, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't have any merch to waste half my time on the video. It's just, tell me what you think. So we want somebody to get off us. And there's 2 get off me's. One is, you see them, that means they're in front of you. So you have time to kind of process, well, what am I going to do? The other one is a predator attack, which is always from the rear, and you won't see that coming. I'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about those frontal things. Because what do you want? You just want somebody to leave you alone, man. Just get off me, kind of thing. Now, and you want less lethal. Now, the tool I'm going to talk about later is non-lethal, but highly effective. Non-lethal, highly effective. So some of you have seen this little guy that I just got. This is a stun gun. It's a stun gun, right? 3 million volts. And it'll put you on the ground. It hurts like hell, and it will put you on the ground. I have not found any volunteers, and I only got, so let me show you something here. If this is not physically pressed against a threat, the longest you can hit the go button is this. That's it. If you do it more than that, you'll destroy the tool. That's how much energy is in here. Guaranteed. If you make contact with the threat, and the contact is in the neck area, shoulder area, or the groin, which is the target you always should be looking at, then the person is done. They're done dano, right? And you can throw it, it's only $20, you can throw it away, right? Stomp on it, whatever. But the person's on the ground, you can leave, right? They're on the ground, you can leave. Problem I have with these kind of tools is you have to make physical contact with the person. That's an invitation to a fist fight. I don't want to make contact. I do not want to touch somebody. I don't want them touching me. Right? That's why I like guns. But I don't want them that close. But if I have this and I can get to it and I'm conscious enough that I can manipulate these little buttons here, right? And then deploy, which means I need to have my arm, my hands free to be able to do something to the person. That also means that if I want to use this or any such tool like that, this needs to be pre-staged, pre-deployed. It needs to be in your hand, ready to activate. So that means you have to, one, this is that coming from the front. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have your hand on this. You don't need to point at it because it doesn't. But have it available. Any tool that you think you're going to need to use, with the exception of a firearm, to have it pre-staged in your hand is the best thing to do, because that means that you're kind of like, your spidey sense is up, right? But it needs contact. Very effective, but man, you better have it pre-staged, and you better have one arm free, right? And to be able to get to the person. Contact is required. The next weapon / tool is something I really like. It's the Compact ASP. That's the company ASP concealable baton. This is called the Agent baton. It's the shortest one they have, right? And very effective. But you have to have it in your hand, and you have to be able to deploy it quickly. And now guess what? You're in contact. You're in contact with the threat. Again, it's a contact coming toward you that you can see, so that you can pre-deploy. Now, some people say, well, you ought to be able to just pull out of your pocket and get busy. If you have that much time, right, you should be going the other way. Because you've seen the threat. Now you're going to do, if you have that much time to leave it in your pocket and then worry about deployment, you probably have enough time to find another path back to your car or wherever you're going. This also requires contact. This will bring a ruckus on a bad guy. It hurts. But a lot of these people are pain insensitive. Look at some of the videos of cops wailing away with the larger versions, and people standing there still fighting them, and they're getting whacked and whacked. I mean, that kind of pain doesn't deter someone who is committed to coming after you. For whatever reason, they are committed to coming after you. This gives you time. And remember, you're by yourself. You're by yourself. So a baton like this, while effective, requires you to be inside a foot and making contact, right? How many strikes do you get? Well, enough to get off me. But now what do you do? Yeah, don't throw this away. This is expensive. Don't throw this away. But you can go the other way because you've now created time and distance. Because that person is now focused on themselves, right? A baton, effective, right? So that's the first. So both of those will get off me. By the way, the baton can be, if from the shoulders up you use it, a lethal weapon, use of deadly force. So that's the first time you would use deadly force. Now, those are frontal things. What do I use and carry for those predator rearward attacks that you can't see? If you get hit like that and you're still conscious, by the time you hit the ground, you're going to be on your front, most likely. You're going to be on your stomach. So now what do you do? Because you're kind of pinned to the ground. I'm not going to go and take mixed martial arts and get into grappling, and I'm too fucking old for that, right? So what I carry every day is this, right? And you've seen this. This is CRKT provoke. Is it provoke or predator? What is this? I can't read it. Okay, but you've seen these, and deployed without the blade, it's a good striking tool. I mean, you can get busy with somebody on this, but what? This could be a frontal assault tool this way, right? But if you hit from behind, what do? I carry this appendix inside the waistband because this clip allows that. And the only thing you see is kind of the top of the ring. Why is that good? Because it's appendix. So my arms are under me probably. And then with this hand, I can now get hold of this. And then I can deploy it. Now my arms are going to be down by my side, but I can still deploy the blade. What's also down there? The person's groin. Lots of blood arteries down there. So now you can cut the shit out of that. If it's a guy, you cut the balls. If it's a woman, you cut the vagina. You just fuck them up down there, right? Because you're down there. Your arms are down there. And this thing just likes eating that stuff. That's the use of deadly force. They will roll off of you. They probably won't be able to stand up, right? That's the first time you get to use deadly force, and probably you're not going anywhere, right? You could be injured. But your arms are, this is down, appendix, this is down, so it doesn't take, you don't have to go anywhere with the blade. It's just right there. The shit is right there, and so you get both legs, they're not going to last long, right? I love this. Inside the waistband, appendix, and you can get busy, but this is use of deadly force now, right? They will get off you, right? One way or the other. But again, we're talking about contact. Well, what if I don't want to be that close and I don't want to shoot anybody? In whatever, there's a crowd, indoors, whatever the circumstance is, I don't want to use deadly force in the moment. And I'm far enough away and the person is intent to come close. So what do? Well, non-lethal works for me. And I think I've showed this. Non-lethal. Who knew? This is an EDC flashlight, right? It's the new form factor, and you're starting to see a lot of manufacturers make the form factor skinny like this and flat. That it conceals so much easier than a round-bodied flashlight, and they can do this form factor because it's rechargeable, right? So they don't need to have a round body so batteries can fit in. That's the reason. So this is the new form factor for flashlights coming out, which is cool. This thing, which I showed you, and I wasn't that aware of it. It goes from 16 lumens, which is like, I gotta write the check, at the restaurant kind of. I gotta like, you've not everybody's done that, but I've done that a lot, right? So yeah, this goes down to I need a light to sign the bill, all the way up to I said get off me. Now, what makes this so effective is that it has two buttons here. One is raised, that's on off, right? And you can cycle through different brightnesses from 16 all the way up to 300, right? And then turn on and off, right? This button here, which I'm not going to press now, I'll go blind, is kind of like cycling through the mode, but the first press on it, which I'm not going to do here, gives you 3,000 lumens. That's worse than looking at the sun. It will hurt like a motherfucker in the other person's eyes. And in most cases, will burn the retina. They will be blinded, literally blinded in the moment. You have now got inside their OODA loop. You have now got them to focus on them. And the first thing I'll focus on is their eyes. Because you just, and by the way, you could be across a room and hit 3,000 lumens. They're going to stop what they're doing. They will be totally disoriented. And I know people say, well, use a flashlight. Not any flashlight. 3,000 lumens worth of light that stops them dead in their tracks. And the recovery to get their vision back, man, you could be in another state by then. Now, obviously, this is like the stun gun. I'm not gonna do this to my camera either. So, but I have focused on this will absolutely stop someone. And look, what you want, even if they start to cover their eyes, that's all you want. You want time and distance. So you already have some distance because you kind of see it coming, right? Or you're backing up out of a conflict situation, and this is pre-deployed. Make sure if there's anything you want to use in your hand, except the gun, make sure, and you think you're in an environment, just have it in your hand. You're walking down, the Strip in Las Vegas. Always have something in your hand, right? Because you're not using deadly force. You're not using lethal force. You can't do anything other than blind them. And that's because they failed to stop coming toward you, right? So 3,000 lumens, man, they're going to stop, and they're going to, you don't care what they do after that. You just want you to leave you alone, and you want to get away. You want to get away. I don't want to apprehend anyone. I don't want to do that, right? Now, if I see someone doing, they're really going to hurt somebody, raping a woman, robbing a store, whatever. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go right to my gun. But this will cause somebody to, and the darker it is, imagine being in a bar, right? Bar, and somebody wants to do the thing, right? They want to get in the monkey dance. You don't have to say anything. All you want to do is back the truck up, right? This is in your hand. You go boop. I said, leave me alone, and then you just leave, and it's done. Right? Even if they have, except the gun, if they have something in their hand and they're far enough away, say 10 feet, 15 feet, something like that, this will stop them, right? Because now they got to focus on themselves. Just like Barjitsu. Barjitsu is the name of a guy in England gentleman's martial arts. And one of the things I really like, right, which is why I carry a pocket square, is that they're standing with their little canes and their little bowler hats, right? And they're in a thing, and they just, and they go to the pocket square, and they throw the pocket square into the eyes of the assailant, who does what? They put their hands up. And then what do they do in Barjitsu? Boom, boom, knock them out, and get your cane and say, hi, good day. And then what? That's Barjitsu. This is kind of the same thing. I said, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Boop. Bye-bye. And then you go about your business. So that's the progression. That's the progression. And I discovered that flashlight, and it was amazing that 3,000 lumens is even available. The downside of 3,000 lumens, this point right here, which is the business end, you're not going to do that for long, or you will get a second-degree burn. That's how hot this thing gets. So it's not intended to go walking around and trying to look at Mars or something. This is instant type thing at 3,000 lumens, right? They even have a safety thing. It's a sensor up here that if the front end gets too close to anything, it will drop out of 3,000 lumens and go to 300. So you don't burn your pocket or your hand or someone else. 3,000 lumens. 3,000 lumens. Let me see if I can put this up that y'all can read. It's called Night Core EDC27. Let's see if y'all can read that. Night Core. Stop. Hope y'all can read that. So, that's my story, and stick it to it. What do you guys think? I mean, what do you use to get off me, right? I'd be interested. So, as always, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, bell icon, and wherever you can, whenever you can, however you can, carry on.